Hello. Today I'm going to talk about the negativity bias. So, the negativity bias is a part of our system that is wired to pay attention more to things that we perceive as negative than to what we might perceive as positive. So, evolutionarily, this is actually brilliant because it is part of what keeps us alive. At the same time, it can also be really uncomfortable, and it can kind of keep us in cycles of anxiety. So, we're going to talk a little bit about how to work with the negativity bias. And, interestingly, I've been doing more hikes this summer and longer hikes than I have done in the past. And the negativity bias is like all those what if questions. And so as I've been hiking, I'll notice my negativity bias in action, like, what if I didn't bring enough water? Or what if I get lost? Or what if I fall and hurt myself? How am I going to get out of here? And from a survival perspective, these questions are actually more important than what if I see an amazing view of Mount Rainier? What if I enjoy a swim in an alpine lake? What if I get to eat wild blueberries on the trail? So the first what if questions are rooted in the negativity bias, and they're based in survival. And it's actually much more important to know what to do in those first situations than in the second situations. So those thoughts are trying to prepare me for something so ultimately I can return from my hike unharmed. At the same time, we can begin to foster the opposite of our negativity bias, which can cultivate a sense of well-being, contentment, or pleasure or enjoyment. And so we're not trying to get rid of the negativity bias. It's about adding to our experience by expanding beyond the negativity bias primarily, because that's the first line of protection. And so just to give you an example of what that can look like. So the last time I just drove somewhere, the negativity bias kept me safe by paying attention to what other cars are doing around me, to the traffic lights, what's happening, when is it green, when's it red, should I go through that yellow, should I not go through that yellow? And as I was consciously or unconsciously, so this is always happening sort of in an unconscious way, whether we're paying attention or not. And then I could also intentionally notice that I was enjoying what I was listening to. I had the window down and there was warm air coming through the window, and I enjoyed the feeling of that warmth. And the moon was also rising, so I was enjoying to be able to see the moon come up. And so paying attention to other drivers, traffic signals, what pedestrians are doing, that will all give me and others a better chance of surviving my drive. But paying attention to what I was listening to, the air and the moon, that makes my drive and my experience just so much more enjoyable. So, a practice. When you go about your day, you can notice I might label that as anxiety. Oh, I'm having anxiety on my hike, or I'm having anxiety by thinking these what if thoughts. So that's one way to look at it. And we can also look at it and go, this is a negativity bias in action, and it's trying to protect us. And so one thing I like to think about is intention versus impact. So the intention of the negativity bias is it's trying to make sure that we make it through whatever we're doing unharmed. And that has an impact that the intention and impact can actually match, but it can also feel like, oh, it's hard to enjoy this thing that I'm experiencing because I keep thinking these what if thoughts, or I keep thinking about the worst case scenario. And so when you notice a negativity bias in action, you can notice the protective qualities of it. And if it feels tolerable, thank it. Say thank you. Thank you for trying to keep me safe. Thank you for preparing me for what would happen if I ran a red light. What would happen if that car didn't stop in front of me? And so that's that part that's saying, I want to keep you alive, and this is how I'm trying to do that. This is through my negativity bias. And so if it feels okay, thank it. Then intentionally notice things that are happening, even in that moment when the negativity bias is active. Notice things that bring you a sense of joy or comfort or a something of beauty. And so it could be something you're listening to, something that you hear. You could hear a bird. That, when the negativity bias is really active, it's hard to notice those kind of quieter, subtler things like a bird singing or a flower or the air on your skin or the way that your clothes feel on your skin. So you can intentionally start to, again, expand reality that the negativity bias is present, and also we can start to strengthen the opposite of that. And when you find something that you enjoy, take 5 breaths and savor it. So just like we thank the negativity bias, we give it a little bit of space. We also savor and acknowledge and bring in the things, the sensations, the experiences that bring a sense of contentment or peace, or whatever words you might use to describe that. And so, just to recap, we're all wired to pay more attention to pain than pleasure. And this is an evolutionarily important skill for our survival. But since most of us want to thrive and not just survive, we can start to train our brains to savor the pleasant and even the neutral, to give our systems a broader perspective of reality. So as always, try it out, see what you think, and share any questions or comments or observations that you have in the comments below. And thanks for watching.